Bro, we got to talk about the Celeste Rivera and David case because this shit just went from tragic to wild as fuck. Because first, investigators was eyeing a second suspect when it comes to this case. And right when you thought things couldn't get even wilder, they dropped this. So now new reports are saying that her body, Celeste's body, was frozen. And now they can't determine the cause of her death. I'm sitting here like, bro, what? So in my mind, I'm thinking they probably got her higher than a kite. You know what I'm talking about. Froze her body and then dismembered it. I don't know if y'all remember this, but early on in the reports, people were saying that him and his manager was arguing. People was already pointing that it could have been his manager with him. So I don't know, y'all. That probably is the second person, but we don't know yet. What we do know for sure, though, it was his car. The car was not too far from his place. They were messing with each other. And she's unalive now. Shit is just getting weird, bruh. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below.
Recently, something terrifying happened in the United States. People reported hearing trumpet-like sounds coming directly from the sky.
Lighten up now.
That's crazy, man. Man, that's crazy. It's like a trumpet. It's like a judgment trumpet.
Several witnesses managed to record the moment. In the video, a loud metallic sound echoes above the city, deep, powerful, and completely unnatural. It doesn't sound like planes. It doesn't sound like construction. Many described it as trumpets blowing from the sky itself. What makes this even stranger is the atmosphere at that moment. The sky suddenly darkened, as if a storm was forming out of nowhere. Some people reported a brief flash of lightning, even though there was no storm forecast. The sound lasted long enough to confuse and frighten everyone who heard it. Similar trumpet sounds have been reported around the world for years, and many link them to ancient prophecies. In the Bible, trumpets are described as signs before major world-changing events, warnings meant to be heard by everyone. So where did this sound really come from? A natural phenomenon, military technology, or something far more unsettling? What do you think it was? Write your opinion in the comments and follow me, because events like this may be warnings we shouldn't ignore.
45 seconds is a minute now? This is what people are saying. I seen a video with a lady saying that she sat there and counted, and a minute went by and 45 seconds and not 60 seconds. Could this be the reason why time feels like it's going faster and faster? Wasn't it just New Year's Day? It's about to be February, guys. Something's going on with the time. Could it be that the time is speeding up? So what's supposed to happen can happen even faster? I don't know, guys. I just sat there and counted from 1 to 60. And that's all I gotta say, guys. I'm not even gonna say what happened. Maybe I'm bugging, maybe I'm tired, I just woke up. But there's a lot of people saying that 45 seconds is the new minute. I hope not. Because life is short enough. And now the time is speeding up. This is what people are saying, guys. Like I said, this video is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not saying that's true. Sit at your clock. Or look at your watch and time it yourself. Or count it yourself and see if it's the same. I don't know, guys. Let me know. I'm out.
Are they actually using mannequins for real people?
They were at the mall when one of the mannequins caught their attention because while shopping, something about the display felt off. So they looked closer, and that's when they noticed the paint peeling away. But underneath it, it didn't look like plastic or rubber. According to her, it looked disturbingly real, like human skin. The video went completely viral, with many people online having dark thoughts about where those mannequins have come from.
There's something much worse than a Wendigo. Now that is called a Wet'suge. Wet'suge is a old Native American legend from the Pacific Northwest up into Canada. They are these terrifying cannibalistic creatures, essentially the cousin to the Wendigo. Now, the Wet'suge is a creature that represents someone who has been cursed. Often, these beasts are a result of someone who craved the power of the Great Spirit animal, but it couldn't control it. And it was turned into a Wet'suge as punishment. Now, they also believed that one could become a Wet'suge if they were to break some sort of taboo of their culture. if they were photographed, if you even spoke the name of Wachuge, you could essentially be cursed to become this creature. Now, this story comes from the 1800s in the Pacific Northwest. There were these 4 loggers, and they happened to find themselves caught in the middle of this horrible snowstorm. So they managed to find this old abandoned cabin, and they took refuge inside. So they build a fire and they get some soup going, and they sit around and they eat. Well, they could hear the winds howling and hitting the house. They could see the snow just coming down outside, and it was just this terrible blizzard. So eventually they all 4 go to bed. They lay down and fall asleep. In the middle of the night, one of the men in the group, he wakes up, and when he looks over, he notices the front door is open. And he could see the wind blowing the trees, and he could see a breeze coming in through the door, moving it. But he couldn't hear it. It was completely quiet. So he gets up and he walks over to the door, and he looks outside, and he can see there's this blizzard going on, but he cannot hear nothing at all. It is completely quiet. So he goes and he wakes up the other guys, and he says, like, hey, there's something going on. Like, I cannot hear anything outside, even though there's this big storm. And all the men, they go to the door, and as well, they couldn't hear anything. It was just completely still and quiet. That's when they started to hear a young girl crying. And as they looked out into the snowstorm outside the cabin, they see a small little figure approach. And as it came closer to the cabin, into the light of the fire, they could see it was a small girl. And she was wearing just some sort of Native American fur coat. She has no shoes, no socks, no feet coverings. She's completely barefoot. And she's walking in the middle of the snowstorm. So they run out to her and they say, oh my gosh, like, are you okay? Are you all right? And they bring her into the cabin. Well, they start trying to talk to her, like, what are you doing out in the middle of a snowstorm? Like, where are you from? Where are your parents? But she doesn't speak any English. So they get her some soup and they get her to bed, and she lays down and falls asleep. So they start talking amongst themselves, like, where did this girl come from? Like, who is this? Like, there's no Native American tribes around in this area. So eventually they all go back to bed. And in the morning, that same man who had woken up and found the door open, he wakes up to the cabin being ice cold. And when he looks over, the fire in the fireplace has gone out. And all of the men that were with him have been mutilated. Their blood, their guts are everywhere, all over this cabin. Something has attacked them. And this little girl is nowhere to be found. So the man gets up and he starts looking for this girl. And when he goes outside the cabin, he finds sort of this trail of blood spots. And he finds these tiny little footprints. And they are leading out into the forest. So he follows them. And he gets into the woods. And he said that's when he sees this little girl. And she is covered in blood. And she is dragging something along. It's one of the men that was with him in the cabin. And that's when he sees this young girl transform into this 7-foot tall, hideous creature that was just skin and bones and had very large antlers, big red eyes, sharp, jagged yellow teeth, and these long, dangly fingers. And it is covered in sort of ice. And it's dragging this man off into the woods. And it lets off this terrifying scream. About a week later, this man is discovered. And he is found by a couple fur trappers. And when they find him, he's in a very bad state. So they bring him back to this trading post. And after several days, they nurse him back to health. When he gets his strength back and he's able to walk around, he is at this house. He leaves the house and he goes to this sort of local pub gathering space. And when he goes inside, there's a Native American man with this young girl. And as he looks at the young girl, he recognizes her as the creature he had seen in the woods.
Have you seen that girl who claims she's an actual mermaid? She's going viral on TikTok right now, and her account is blowing up because she's doing everything she can to prove she's real. Every one of her videos looks strange and low-key unsettling, but they're pulling millions of views, some already past 6 million. In one clip, she says she's somewhere near Point Nemo, the most remote place in the entire ocean, a spot literally farther from any human than astronauts on the ISS are from land. In that video, she showed her so-called scales, and honestly, they looked shockingly convincing. In another video, she pointed out a weird patch of skin that didn't look human at all. But the really creepy part came when she posted a new clip rubbing her hand across the scales, and they started peeling off, revealing this thick, realistic-looking skin underneath. People still aren't convinced though, and they keep pointing out the obvious questions. How would a mermaid even have a phone? How is she filming all this? And how is she uploading TikToks from the middle of nowhere in the ocean? So, what do you think, real or just insanely good editing?
Nah, there's no way. Should I do it?
He was at church recording the choir when he sees this. A woman by the name Mariana explains that her father has sent her a video watching the church choir, and that while watching the video, she noticed something straight out of a nightmare. Amidst the people, as he pans the camera, a pale, lifeless figure can be seen, watching him. No one seems to notice it and continue their ceremony, as if they're unable to see it. The disturbing video was posted onto Mariana's TikTok page after the discovery. Neither her or her father have any idea who or what this thing could be.
Have you ever been to Antarctica?
Yeah.
Do you believe in the ice wall?
Yeah, I saw the ice wall.
There.
Yeah, you saw it too.
I can't say I'm sure. No way.
But
we'll talk about it later.
That's crazy. He almost leaked it.
What is this on Google Earth? Hold that thought. At the edge of the world, 55 degrees south, a lonely island sits battered by the Antarctic winds. Isla Oste, Chile. Few people know this place. Fewer still have ever set foot on it. But long before satellites mapped its contours, it was home to the Yagan people, or Yamana. They lived here for 7,000 years, masters of the sea, navigating icy channels in canoes, reading stars, currents, and clouds. They believed the land itself was alive and that spirits moved through the wind, the fire, sand, and stone. Well, let's take a look closer. Most will say this is Google Earth doing some kind of satellite stitching or mirroring. But I did zoom in on some areas that don't look mirrored. Either way, here's the thing. The very last person alive of the Yamana people passed in 2022. I checked the historical imagery on Google Earth, and this only appears in 2022. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the comments. Take care.
Canada just announced a brand new strategic partnership with China, y'all. And this is just not no small little headline, fool. You gotta listen to what people say sometimes. When I listen to this video, the only thing I can really think of is when he said NWO. And y'all know what that is. Look at this video.
Mine is the first visit of a Canadian Prime Minister to China in nearly a decade. The world has changed much since that last visit. progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
People already saying this shit is happening because of Trump, fool. People also saying this could be the sign that U.S. is losing global influence. It's like everybody turning their back on the U.S. right now. But like I said, what gets me is the NWO. Because last time I checked, I think all of them is in with the NWO. So could this all be like a stage play? I'm confused, y'all. But I need y'all thoughts down below in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about this.
Nah, B. Nah. I wouldn't want to go to the cemetery to see my loved ones and see something like this there. Shh! Shut up! This is in Ohio. People are saying that this is called the Hazara Angel. You know, the angel of shh, don't you even say it. What's really creepy about this statue is that it's crying black tears. I don't like the way that looks. Nah, for real, why would somebody put this in a cemetery? I'm pretty sure people don't want to see this while they're burying their loved ones. I mean, come on, look at the back of this thing. Why is this there? And who's to say that this thing can't come alive? I don't know, guys, because it looks like it's kind of glowing to me. Shh! Shut up! Don't say it. Actually, this is in Cleveland, Ohio. This is what I heard. But why is it glowing like that, guys? Something to think about when there's nothing to think about. Because what I'm thinking is that this video is for entertainment purposes only, and this is just a statue. There's no way that this could come alive. I don't know about this one, but something's up with this. Let me know what you think. I'm out.
I'm sure you've heard the news of NASA discovering city lights on a planet 7 trillion miles away. Here's what happened. 7 trillion miles is just around the Oort cloud, which is a kind of icy shell of debris surrounding our solar system, and the source for many of our comets, meaning that this is our backyard. Nowhere near far enough to reach even our closest neighbors. In 2022, there were articles about James Webb's capability of detecting artificial lights on a planet called Proxima Centauri b, which is a planet that orbits around here. But those articles were just about how that would work and how James Webb could identify them. There were then quite a few misleading titles from verified YouTube accounts, which is frustrating because even a quick Google search can do the math for how not far 7 trillion miles is. Some of the articles I found talking about it claimed that NASA made the discovery, but their sources linked to totally unrelated news or were like benign articles about how lights work. This sort of thing should bother us. Once that seed is planted, it's really hard to uproot. So click those links and use a calculator.
As much as I want this to be true.
2 years ago, I made a video showing how it looks like South America used to connect to Antarctica, and how it looks like something may have busted through there. I think it's about time we revisit this topic. Now let me start off by saying, how much can we trust these maps, especially when this one we're looking at is a globe? Now keeping that in mind, I want to show you the 1587 Montes map. It's a real map, and you can see this would be America, this would be South America. And it appears they once used to connect just 500 years ago. Now you might not know this yet, but I've made 20 videos on how dragons 100% existed, and they're petrified all over this earth. We walk on their remains. Here's one all in red in the west coast of the United States. It's even called the Black Dragon Reservoir, where its mouth is, and you can see this is its jaw. Here's teeth, its entire jawline. Molars, there's its eye. This whole thing is its head. There's petrified dragons everywhere, dead ones. And when I made this video talking about this petrified dragon from 2 years ago, I was under the assumption that they were all dead. But some things have made me wonder, if I'm being honest. And a lot of these things have been brought to my attention by this creator on the TT platform. Go give him a follow and check out what he has to say. But I want to give you some of my thoughts based on some of his. Now, he does a lot of content on how these serpents are still alive, just dormant. And not only is there one down there, but one right up here, right by something in the news recently. Now, when I first came across this theory that there was a chance they were alive, I didn't take it too seriously, but I am to the point in my life where I don't disregard anything. And you can see how this creature looks very similar to how an alligator might breathe. And when I heard Deda's Universe talking about the hurricane patterns, hurricanes that just frequent this area and could be caused by this beast trying to suck in to feed. But it wasn't that opened my mind even more. No, it was actually when he talked about the million-ton monster algae that's poisoning everything from Africa to America. Because I live in Florida, and there's red tide that seems to appear out of nowhere and is very toxic. It hurts my lungs to breathe in when I'm at the beach and there's red tide. And I couldn't help but what they called that red tide and the remnants of it. Sargasm. SAR, which could mean suspicious activity report. And well, do you know any other word that sounds like gasm, maybe with an O at the beginning of it, and that is a release of fluids? So maybe not only is he sucking in and feeding, or she, maybe she's also regurgitating, sargasm. And you would notice where that would come out, right here. And did you see the wave and wind pattern? That's right. And here's where all that red tide, which is super toxic, acidic, almost like vomit would be. I also found this extremely interesting. He says this serpent comes through here, comes up through California, where its belly would be, and it actually bulges out. But I found this very interesting. Anchorage, Alaska is right here, where he pointed out Anchorage, where he could be anchored down, and this is the Bering Sea, and Bering reminds me of children bearing. Now his theory is that all this activity in Venezuela is because this thing is waking up and they're going to bomb it to try to sedate it. He's also pointed out the name of the Nagasaki bomb, and Naga just happens to be a divine serpent-like being. Now, I'm not going to lie, I have extremely mixed thoughts on this. One, I know that giant monstrosities of animals existed here. Dragons, all sorts of really wild creatures. Here's that dragon in the West Coast. There's even a petrified dragon down here in the southeast. But to think there might still be some of them living, it's hard to wrap your head around, but I don't totally discount it. But there's a few reasons why I think it's true and why I might not think it's true. Now, this red tide poisonous algae stuff really got me thinking that there's a chance it was alive. However, this is Mount Rainier in Washington, and I've done a video on how volcanoes and the lava that comes out of them is remnants of dragon. It's probably their insides that could allow them to breathe fire. I know that sounds crazy. But if a bombardier beetle can create liquid hot acid by combining two sacks of fluid that it has, well, so could a dragon. And the insides of dragons are what causes volcanoes. That's literally a dragon's face, and that's a volcano. So maybe that dead, petrified serpent is still just leaking out some of that ancient material. Or maybe it is sargasming. And this, well, maybe it is breathing, but when you take a closer look, these aren't air holes or anything that anything could breathe out of. They're literally islands, solid rock islands. And not only that, but there's a literal petrified ancient dog creature, some sort of dragon, petrified on it. And when you scroll up to this other one near Venezuela, where it would be breathing, those are again islands, one of them being St. Lucia. Now here's some petrified rock at St. Lucia. And you know what I think that is? Well, here's an alligator's snout. And do you see those spikes up there? I'm just saying. That doesn't look like anything that's coming back to life to me. But then I do come back to this 1587 map, where it sure looks connected to me. And like I said, I did this video 2 years ago, so it's at least been disconnected that long. Now, I might not have a final verdict on this, but I do have some final thoughts. And that is whether this thing is dead and petrified or gonna come back to life and wreak havoc on the world we know, it doesn't matter. The end goal is to have no fear, because fear is the enemy's #1 tool. And if you give in to fear, and you live in fear, and you act out of fear, well, then you've lost. Maybe we're just here being tested to see which side of things you choose, and maybe this is our final reckoning. Because after all, Revelation 13:3 of the Bible describes one of the heads of a beast receiving a seemingly fatal head wound, which is then miraculously healed, causing the entire world to marvel and follow that beast in worship and allegiance. Now, I always thought that referred to someone that got an ear wound, but maybe, just maybe, it's talking about another beast, another Bible verse to think about. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of it. Now, go check him out on the TT, and I give credit where credit is due. Of course, all this for entertainment purposes. I don't really think that petrified or living dragons exist. No, I live on a spinning globe I evolved from a chimp, and some Big Bang created us all. Definitely not the Heavenly Father. Entertainment only.
Why do kids get scared when you sing happy birthday to them?
It's suspicious that when we sing a happy birthday to kids, they don't like it. And then everybody like, oh, okay, it's the attention that the kids don't like. No, it's that song.
Yep.
I don't know, something, if the kids don't like it, it's something.
Weird.
He's a fisherman. He said after a certain time, being on the shore of the beach is dangerous because that's when they arrive and they take people with them. Point blank, period. And you know, everybody's compound on the coast got electric charged wire on top of the fences, barbed wire, and they all got these signs, danger. And everybody got their security. They say after a certain time it get dangerous. Be inside the gate. Don't go to the water because, you know, none of us can swim good enough to get you back from them. I spoke to a guy, he said he went for a night swim, and when he got back to shore, he was standing there with his towel, and he looked, and he seen a merman standing there. The hair was not like you see in the movies. He said he had these large black eyes, and he said he got this compelling feeling to go into the water. And he said he glad he fought the thought because he said he felt like if he did, nobody ever see him again. And when I went to Puerto Rico, the locals said the exact same thing. Exact same thing.
There's videos now in Mexico of people that are given the same description.
For sure.
Recently, that just happened a few weeks ago, that they seen one that walked onto the shoreline.
That's the thing.
It's got legs.
Apparently, the males don't have the fish appendage at the end. They got legs, but they have webbed hands and webbed feet.
Okay.
So this is the description everybody's getting.
If you have heard of the Klarna method going around Detroit right now for Christmas, please do not do it because you will ruin your credit score. So if you remember the Cash App or the Chase Bank method that was happening a few years ago and even last year, there is a new one called the Klarna method that people are doing in Detroit that is absolutely ruining your credit. People are now getting your first and last name and even your social security number, opening up a Klarna account and buying PlayStations, iPhones, and credit lines of cash, and then making your credit go in the toilet. And people are telling you this. They thought they found a Klarna glitch, but what they really found was a glitch to go straight to prison. Because if you do this Klarna method right now where you're getting PlayStations, iPhones, iPads, and cash in people's name and then not paying those back, you will go to jail. It's gotten so bad that even this guy right here who works at a Walmart said that all of their Apple products got cleared out in Detroit because of people coming in and buying with Klarna. So please, whatever you do, do not listen to anybody that tells you to do the Klarna method.